On December 16, 1944, the German army unleashed its final, desperate counteroffensive, shattering the fragile peace along the Ardennes front. As the spearheads of panzers drove deep into Allied lines, a critical crossroads town was swiftly surrounded, Bastogne. But what truly horrified the German high command was not the resistance inside the town, but the unthinkable speed of the enemy general racing to save it. The winter of 1944 was a deep, frozen calamity. In the dense forests of the Ardennes, German Field Marshal Walther Model had achieved total surprise. His panzer divisions cut through the snowy, poorly manned American lines, driving toward the Meuse River. For 3 days, the American front evaporated, leaving isolated pockets of resistance. By December 20, Bastogne, garrisoned primarily by the legendary 101st Airborne Division, was completely cut off, besieged by 5 German divisions. The air was thick with the sound of shelling and the biting cold that froze hands to rifles. Inside the American headquarters, the shock was palpable. General George S. Patton, Jr., commanding the Third Army far to the south, near the Saar, was ordered to attend a crucial high-level conference at Verdun. When asked by General Eisenhower's staff what he could do, Patton famously declared he could turn his army 90 degrees and attack north within 48 hours. The suggestion was met with stunned silence. Moving an entire army corps in mid-battle across vast distances, through ice and snow, was simply unprecedented in modern warfare. Patton had not been bluffing. Even before the Verdun meeting, he had taken a calculated risk, issuing preliminary orders for the movement of his formidable 3 corps. This corps contained some of the finest fighting units in the Third Army, and they were told to immediately disengage from their current front. This move was a monumental logistical gamble, requiring thousands of men, tanks, and vehicles to abandon established defensive positions and prepare for a massive pivot into the unknown Belgian snows. While the Americans prepared their incredible maneuver, the German generals felt confident. They believed the American logistical machine was slow and bureaucratic. General Otto von Manschufel, commander of the 5th Panzer Army, estimated it would take the Americans at least 2 weeks, if not longer, to redeploy a significant force from a different front. His strategy was simple: crush the encircled Americans in Bastogne before any relief could possibly arrive. This overconfidence would prove to be fatal. The planning for the relief drive involved not just combat divisions, but also a massive, coordinated effort by Patton's quartermaster staff. An often overlooked fact is the crucial role of the signalmen and engineers. They simultaneously managed multiple, one-way traffic routes stretching over 150 miles. Over 60,000 vehicles were involved in the initial phase of the turn. This was not merely an army moving, it was an entire fighting ecosystem being uprooted and replanted in the freezing north in less than 3 days. The engineers accomplished what seemed impossible. They utilized every available truck, including captured German vehicles, to move critical fuel, ammunition, and men. Crucially, they faced the paralyzing ice. The ground was so hard that traction was nearly non-existent, yet the supply lines kept moving forward, day and night. Patton himself was at the heart of the chaos, demanding absolute adherence to the timetable. His objective was not just to attack, but to launch a shock and-awe maneuver that would paralyze the German response. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so now. It helps us bring you more incredible stories from history. The speed of the Third Army's pivot began to register with German aerial reconnaissance around December 22. They saw the unprecedented volume of traffic moving north along the congested roads toward Arlon and Neufchâteau. General Model, monitoring the overall operation, received reports detailing massive Allied buildup in the south. The German High Command initially dismissed the reports as inflated. They simply could not comprehend an entire army reversing direction so swiftly. This logistical sprint became the central terror for the German commanders. What they witnessed was not a gradual buildup but the immediate, full-force assault of Patton's lead elements, primarily the 4th Armored Division. General Manchoufel later admitted that the speed of the American response was an operational miracle. The German forces had assumed they had a minimum of 10 days to eliminate Bastogne. Patton shortened that timeline to 6. The 4th Armored Division's advance was relentless but brutal. They faced heavy German resistance from crack Panzer grenadier units that were dug in around the perimeter. The Americans fought through relentless German counterattacks in dense forests, relying on their superior firepower to punch through the thin crust of the German lines. The terrain made coordination difficult, tanks struggled on icy slopes, and visibility was often near zero due to heavy snow squalls. The crucial breakout moment came on December 26, 1944. Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams, commanding the 37th Tank Battalion, drove his force towards the beleaguered 101st. The objective was the village of Ardennes, just south of Bastogne. As the tanks struggled through the woods, Private First Class Virgil Lott, a tank gunner, spotted a group of soldiers he initially thought were Germans. They were, in fact, the forward scouts of the 101st Airborne. When Abrams' tanks finally broke through the German encirclement at 4:50 p.m., the relief was palpable but subdued. The paratroopers of the 101st, exhausted and nearly out of ammunition, swarmed the tanks. The first priority was not celebration, but immediately delivering medical supplies and ammunition. The Germans, stunned by the success, were still holding key positions. The corridor was narrow and treacherous, but the encirclement was officially broken. The reaction inside German headquarters was one of furious disbelief directed at the intelligence failures. General von Manchoufel noted after the war that the speed of Patton's thrust was the single most impressive tactical operation mounted by the Allies in the entire campaign. They knew their offensive was doomed the moment the Third Army achieved full momentum. The German gamble relied on American slowness, and Patton had violently negated that assumption. The cost of the 7-day rush was high for the Third Army, suffering heavy casualties in the brutal relief drive. Yet the strategic payoff was immense. Bastogne held, the German objective of reaching the Meuse failed, and the Bulge itself was contained. Patton's unprecedented 90-degree turn saved the lives of thousands of paratroopers and completely destroyed the timetable for Hitler's last major Western offensive. The story of Patton's Third Army is the definitive tale of logistics triumphing over adversity and expectation. In just 1 week, they reversed a military disaster, defying all historical precedent and shocking the enemy high command into retreat. The German generals expected weeks, they received 7 days of fury. Patton's army not only relieved Bastogne but cemented his legacy as one of the most operationally brilliant commanders in history. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more amazing World War II stories.